All right, everybody. It is Dr. Jeff. It is 9 p.m. Eastern Time here in the US, and it is time for the Tuesday Night LifeVantage overview. I'm using a slide deck that I used last week, but I'm going to keep it for a while. I like it. It's the slide deck that I used for the activation tour that I did across the Midwest about 3 weeks ago now. And I actually like some of the information in there. I like some of the statistics that I use. So this is me. I'm a managing consultant one with LifeVantage. About a month ago, I got appointed to the scientific advisory board. I'm really excited about that. We had our first meeting last Thursday night. We have an amazing, amazing team on the scientific advisory board. I think we have a lot of great things to come. I always like to start off with a quote, and this is the quote I've been using most recently. I like this quote because of the fact that I have friends that still reach out to me, and they're not in LifeVantage yet, but they keep telling me, Jeff, you are just so lucky. Seems like everything you touch, you turn into a business. And I said, no, that's not it. I've had my failures. I've just failed more times than you've tried. One of my best friends, he was the best man at my wedding, and he falls into that category. He just, I don't know if he's afraid to try or what, but I think that as long as you keep trying, I think you're more than qualified to succeeding. I want to start off with two disturbing statistics. And these statistics are something that I feel that if you get involved in LifeVantage, these are two statistics that LifeVantage can solve. And the first statistic is the fact that 42% of Americans are obese. So the obesity rate in the United States is 42%. There are 5 states that are above 49%. West Virginia is at 49.8%. They will, in 2025, become the first state in the country that will have an obesity rate of over 50%. So that means that more than half of their population will be more than 30% overweight, because that's the definition of obesity. The second statistic is the one that bothers me even more. And that's that 57% of American households are living paycheck to paycheck. Most American households, both the mom and dad are working outside of the home. Gone are the days where mom stays home and takes care of the kids, dad goes off to work. I was lucky 3 weeks ago when I was doing the activation tour. I got to spend 3 days in Goshen, Indiana. Goshen, Indiana has a very, very high Amish population. And I got to spend 3 days with Karen and Norman that were our hosts. And they still live that life. Karen stays home and takes care of the kids. Norman goes off to work. He works at a company that makes travel trailers. He's a foreman there. Goes off to work every day, working in the travel trailer industry, making travel trailers. It's pretty interesting. He took us actually to the last day we were there. He took us to his workplace, and we were able to look at that. And they put out one travel trailer every hour. They make 16 trailers a day off the assembly line. It was amazing to watch how that works. But think about if you live paycheck to paycheck, the statistics show that if you lose your job in 90 days, you're bankrupt. That's why I think this statistic is amazing, because there's a lot of families out there. I know families that in my subdivision that mom and dad both work and they're looking for a third job. They're looking for some type of gig income, whether it's delivering pizza or driving for Uber. The lady next door, who's an amazing friend of mine, I've been trying to get her involved in LifeVantage with us. And she works a full-time job as a nurse in a mental health hospital. And then on weekends, she works in a kind of jail setting for adolescents that have had problems with the law. So she's working a full-time job and a part-time job, and her husband drives for Amazon, drives tractor trailer for Amazon. But they would be in trouble if one of them lost their job. So it's amazing to look at that statistic. So let's look first at the obesity rate. That's me and my wife Jennifer. That's about 4 years ago. I am about 340 pounds in that picture. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Jennifer, I won't say what her weight was in that picture, but she's down about 40 pounds from the time that picture was taken. I want to flash back. I'm looking at the people that are on this call today, and there are a few of you that probably remember 1975. My wife Jennifer was born in 1975. I was 13 in 1975. And the picture shows what our diet looked like in 1975. We had fresh meat, we had fresh seafood, we had fresh baked goods, we had dairy, we had eggs that came from a friend of mine from high school, Karen Johnson. Her family owned Johnson's Poultry Farm. We could buy fresh eggs at Johnson's every summer. We could buy fresh corn on the cob at Johnson's, fresh cheese, fresh dairy, fresh vegetables. That's changed. Flash forward to 50 years. Our diet in 2025, and I just read this statistic yesterday because I never really knew the number. 67% of the American diet is ultra high processed foods. Means that only about 33% is whole food, is fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, fresh dairy, fresh baked goods. Everything comes in a package. Everything comes in a box, frozen, in a can, in some type of package, ultra high processed. Why is that important? Why is Americans gaining weight at an alarming rate? In 1975, our obesity rate was 10%. Pediatric cancer was 0.2% of the pediatric population. Today, it's 1.7%. Premature menopause almost didn't exist. Men requiring testosterone therapy was unheard of. Autism spectrum disorder was about 1 in 5,000 kids. Today, it's 1 in 31. What's changed? One thing, the American diet. I showed that in the last two pictures. The American diet has changed. In 1975, most of our food was grown, raised, baked, recovered, harvested, whatever words we want to use, within 50 to 100 miles of our home. That doesn't exist anymore. If it was summer, we would get oranges. If it wasn't summer, we didn't have oranges. Same thing with fresh tomatoes. Today, if we look at it, the more ultra high processed food. Somebody is not on mute. Could you go ahead and mute your? I think it was probably you, Bob. I think I tried to mute you. So why are Americans gaining weight? Well, we have ultra high processed food. It increases our free radicals. The more free radicals, the more oxidative stress. The more oxidative stress, the more we downregulate our hormones that are responsible for metabolism. Thyroid hormone, testosterone, estrogen, human growth hormone, GLP-1. They all get downregulated from the free radicals that are produced by the ultra high processed food. This leads to more obesity. Believe it or not, the more obesity leads to more free radicals. More free radicals, more oxidative stress. You can see the merry-go-round. You can see that you cannot get off that carousel unless you do something from outside. So we're going to talk about what you can do from outside. But before we do that, I have to give the disclosures from LifeVantage. 2 disclosures. Disclosure number 1, we're going to talk about finances. At the end of this, we're going to talk about the amount of money that you can make in LifeVantage. It's all dependent on the amount of work you do. If you do this full time like I am, you can make full-time income. You can make beyond full-time income. You can make influencer income or Hollywood star income if you work it hard enough. If you work it as a gig or a part-time job, you work an hour a day, 4 or 5 hours a week, then that's the kind of money you're going to make. So it all depends on the amount of effort that you put into it. The second thing, we're going to talk about products. We're going to talk about these amazing products, what we call activators. None of these products are evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. They're considered supplements, and they are not intended to cure, treat, prevent, or mitigate any diseases. So now that we have that out of the way, we're going to talk about where this started. LifeVantage actually started in 2005, but the LifeVantage story started about 7 years prior to that. I think it started in 1998, because in 1998, one of the biggest medical studies ever was launched. That study was called the Human Genome Project. It took from 1998 to 2005 to complete the project. But the project was interesting because it was the first time that we talked about something called nutrigenomics, taking nutritional products and changing genetic pathways in our body. And that's where Protandim Nrf2 was launched. Launched in 2005. And we found out that it can lower our oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. So what does that mean? Well, oxidative stress, we now know if we Google oxidative stress and disease on PubMed, we'll find out that there's about 32,000 articles, and we can show that oxidative stress is linked to 220 disease states. Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, heart disease, kidney disease, autism spectrum disorder, multiple cancers. So if we can downregulate oxidative stress, we can potentially downregulate our risk of getting these diseases. So this piqued interest between universities and medical centers, and they started doing research on oxidative stress and on nutrigenomics. LifeVantage was the first nutrigenomic company that ever launched a product, and that product was Protandim Nrf2. If you look at the picture on the screen, that's John Quinones, ABC News primetime investigative report, still working for ABC News, doing the What Would You Do show on ABC, which I absolutely love. But he did an expose on Protandim Nrf2, and it was initially thought to be a hit piece. They were initially looking to prove that it didn't work, but he took the product. He went to his doctors. He went to our doctors, the LifeVantage doctors, and his lab tests started to improve. His oxidative stress improved. He started feeling better, and therefore it was a promising piece. It showed that our products worked. But here was the problem. We had John Quinones' story, and if we watched the show, we could hear his story. But in 2005, we didn't have YouTube. So you couldn't click it on YouTube and watch it. You had to actually watch ABC News on that Wednesday night when they showed it at 9 o'clock. If you didn't see it, there was no story. So from 2005 to 2009, we didn't have a story. So the products were being sold in Walgreens, in CVS, in on the Walmart shelves, but they weren't selling. They were selling about $1 million a year. Not enough to be profitable. 2009, the company realized that we had to have a story. The way to have a story was to take this product and go direct marketing, network marketing. Now you have a story. People like Bob Kane have a story. People like Debbie Woods has the story that are on this call tonight. I have my story. And we can tell the stories personally. We can help tell the stories on a Tuesday night Zoom call. But now there's a story involved with the products, and that's where this changed. People will ask me, they'll say, Jeff, Dr. Jeff, do you have an anti-aging product? Do you have something that we can take that will help reverse the aging process? And I tell them, no, it's not an anti-aging product. It is the anti-aging product. It is the best anti-aging product that we know today. It can raise the master antioxidant in our body, a molecule called superoxide dismutase. It can raise that by 40% in 30 days. It can raise glutathione, which we have used in our practice, injections or IV injections of glutathione. It can raise that 300% in just 30 days. So it can deal with this oxidative stress. It can lower our risk of those diseases. Let me put this in real life terms. Let's talk about blueberries, organic blueberries. If you ate organic blueberries, to neutralize 1 million free radicals, just 1 million total free radicals, you would have to eat 220 pints of organic blueberries. That would neutralize 1 million free radicals. Superoxide dismutase, one molecule can neutralize 1 million free radicals. Over a day, that's 1 million free radicals per second, which if you take that out to a day, that's 18.6 trillion free 18.6 trillion free radicals per day are neutralized by superoxide dismutase. Way different. You could never eat enough blueberries to get to that level. That's why this is the anti-aging product. What else can we activate? That's why these are called activators. They're not supplements. A supplement is something like vitamin D. If we're low on vitamin D, then we can take a vitamin D supplement to boost our vitamin D levels. But that's not how this works. This is tiny little building blocks that can raise superoxide dismutase by 40%. Tiny little building blocks that can raise type 1 collagen by 100% in 8 weeks, or tiny little building blocks that can raise GLP-1 by 200% in 90 days. So the big product, the one that now probably is becoming the star of our product line, becoming the flagship product, is the MindBody GLP-1 system. It's the reason that I joined LifeVantage. My 1 year anniversary was July 16th. July 16th of this year, I was in LifeVantage for 1 year. I said no twice. When I was approached by Lindy Ritsu, I said, I'll look at the products, I'll look at the research, but I'm really not interested in doing another network marketing company. Came back in a week and I told her the same thing. And then she got me on a 3-way call with Tara Wilson. And Tara actually asked Lindy to step out of the room. And Tara told me in 4 days, we're going to launch an activator for GLP-1 that will raise our GLP-1 levels from inside. I knew about the obesity epidemic. I knew that I had been obese since my 20s. I graduated 8th grade at 200 pounds. So I knew what obesity was. I went on to play college football, NFL football, but then when I finished in the NFL, I traded 5 hours a day in the gym for 5 hours a day in the library. And so a lot of my muscle weight went to fat weight. And I put on weight really fast. And I've struggled with that obesity problem since my mid-20s. So I knew how big a product that could raise GLP-1 naturally would be. In our practice, we were using the injectable GLP-1s. We saw the side effects. We saw the hair loss. We saw the gallbladder disease. We saw the gastroparesis associated with Mounjaro and Ozempic and Wegovy and Rybelsus. And so I knew how big this product could be. And when we look at our product, we look that it's a product that can take back your relationship with food. That's the biggest problem. The biggest problem with obesity, there are 3 things that will lower our GLP-1 levels, naturally will lower those levels and cause us to be obese. That is ultra high processed foods. It is emotional eating not because we're hungry, but because we're happy, because we're sad, because we're out with friends for the night. And then yo-yo dieting. We're all guilty of that. I've been on every diet known to man. I've been on cabbage soup diet. I've been on the watermelon diet. I've been on low carbs. I've been on low fat. I've been on low calories. I've done Weight Watchers. I've done keto. I've done carnivore. I've done them all. And the problem is once you stop them, the weight comes back on. So now let's flash forward to Big Pharma. Big Pharma that came out with the GLP-1 shots, came out with them about 8 or 9 years ago. Are they the solution to this problem? Absolutely not. the GLP-1 drugs, you take the shot in the stomach once a week, and they increase our GLP-1 levels really high. But the problem is once we go off them, they've shut down the body's ability to make GLP-1. So for the next several months, your GLP-1 levels are close to zero. National Institute of Health did a study and found out that in the first 8 weeks of going off these drugs, you're going to regain about 20% of the weight you lost. If you lose 80 pounds, that means you're putting 16 pounds back on in that first 8 weeks. But even more than that, they looked at the first year. The first year of going off these drugs, 90% of the patients that take the drugs regain 66% of their weight. So isn't an answer? No, it's a cash grab for big pharma to participate in yo-yo dieting. Because what's going to happen now? You're going to go on it for a year, you're going to lose 80. You're going to go off of it for a year, you're going to gain 70 back on. You're going to want to go back on it, you're going to spend your money, and you're going to lose that weight again. You're going to go off of it, and you're going to go back on. Our product doesn't do that. It raises your numbers from inside. In that study that they did in the first 12 weeks, when we announced the product last July, we found that the GLP-1 levels went up 140% in 12 weeks. When we repeated the study, we found out they went up 200%. So now that you're taking back your control with food, you're taking back that toxic relationship of emotional eating and yo-yo dieting, less cravings, less impulses, and you're now able to balance your life and balance your weight loss. That's the important part of this. So let's look more. What is GLP-1? I think it's important. Anybody that's on this call, and if you're on this call, and I don't see anything in the chat, if you're on this call for the first time you're hearing me give this, and I know I'm looking at a lot of people on this call that are people that love to hear me talk and love to come on these calls on Tuesday night. But if it's your first time, put the number 1 in the chat box. I'm going to talk to you right now because everybody, the people that know me know this. But what is GLP-1? GLP-1 is glucagon-like peptide 1. So let's break that down. Glucagon-like, the body recognizes as glucagon. So this is what happens. We eat and our glucose levels go up. The body responds and the pancreas pushes out insulin to take care of that glucose and push that glucose into the cells for energy. As glucose comes down, the counteraction to that is glucagon starts going up. As glucagon goes up, hunger goes up, cravings go up. When glucagon gets too high, then you get hangry. I know we've all experienced that. I know I have. Back in the day when I was still working as a surgeon, I would leave my office or leave the operating room 7, 8 o'clock at night. I knew my wife had dinner on the table waiting for me. I couldn't make it home. It was a 30 or 40-minute commute. I'd pull into a Jiffy store and I'd get a bag of pretzels. I'd pull into McDonald's and get a Big Mac because I was hangry. Not just hungry, I was hangry. I needed to eat something. Probably hadn't eaten lunch since noon. It's 8 o'clock at night. I wanted food. That's because our glucagon levels were high. So glucagon, like peptide 1, it binds in the spots where glucagon is supposed to bind. And it decreases that feeling. It decreases our cravings. It decreases that hangriness. And you can take control of your relationship with food. When we did the study, this is what we found. GLP-1 increases insulin secretion. It decreases glucagon secretion. It slows digestion, so your stomach is full longer. It suppresses your appetite. But here are some of the important things. There's not just glucagon-like or GLP-1 receptors in the gut, but there's GLP-1 receptors in the heart. So it supports cardiovascular health. It decreases our risk. If you have high GLP-1 levels, it decreases your risk of heart disease. It decreases your risk of kidney disease. And it protects your brain. There are GLP-1 receptors in a spot in our brain called the pleasure center. So what that does is it decreases the response in our brain that gives us pleasure from food. So now we don't have cravings anymore. I always tell the joke that I was an Oreo addict. I was looking for Oreos Anonymous. That support group doesn't exist. We have Alcoholics Anonymous. We have Narcotics Anonymous. We have nicotine support groups. All of these can be controlled by getting your GLP-1 levels up. Some of the addiction doctors are now using GLP-1 in their addiction practices. My Oreo consumption was about 8 Oreos a day, 2 with breakfast, 2 for dessert at lunch, 2 for a mid-afternoon snack, and 2 with a cup of coffee before bed, because who doesn't like dipping their Oreos in a hot cup of coffee? I started taking the MindBody GLP-1 system on October 12th of last year, and I have not had an Oreo since. My cravings for sweets, my cravings for glucose went completely away. Last year at Halloween, we live in a subdivision that is known for trick or treat. We know that we're going to have people that are going to park outside the subdivision, walk in through the gates, and they're going to trick or treat here. We had 600 trick or treaters for Halloween last year, and I ate one small mini candy bar because that's the only sugar craving I had was a tiny little bit, wanted that one candy bar. So when we did the original study on the MindBody GLP-1 system, remember we announced it in July. We didn't launch the product till October. So in that period of time, we had 60 people in a 12-week study. We were able to increase GLP-1 levels in the original study by 140%. We repeated that study, and in the second study, it was 200%. Average weight loss is slow. It starts out only about 9 pounds in 8 weeks. Because remember what we're doing. We're increasing GLP-1 levels from whatever level you're starting at. Maybe you're starting at only a 10% of normal. It's going to take 6 or 8 weeks to get those levels to normal. But once they hit normal, then you start losing weight because the weight loss was 25 pounds at 12 weeks. 100% of the people that were on the study did not lose any muscle. Big Pharma admits in their studies, the studies that they're paying for, of anywhere from a 25 to 30% muscle loss. What does that mean? That means if you lose 80 pounds, you're losing up to 25 pounds of muscle. Less muscle means less mobility, increased risk of falling, decreased metabolism, all bad things. In our study, most people lost up to 27% of visceral fat. What is visceral fat? Visceral fat is that bad fat. It's the fat that's around your heart, it's around your kidneys, that's around your liver, that leads to disease. So decreased 27%. In the big pharma studies, about 17%. So 10% increase compared to the big pharma studies. And here are the ones that I thought were important. 82% of the people said they took back their relationship with food. 95% said they had a decrease in sugar cravings. Very, very important and very important to me. So here's my picture. The picture on the far left, me in August of 2024, before starting this product. I was on a cruise, actually leaving on the Alaska incentive cruise in a couple days. We're actually flying out on Thursday, going to Seattle. But in that picture, I was about 310 pounds, morbidly obese. Second picture, April of this year, down almost 90 pounds just on the MindBody system, increasing my protein intake, increasing my water intake, and the weight was coming off. Middle picture, I like to look at the rolls that are underneath her bra top. You can see them here from the front. You can see them here from the back. You cannot suck in back fat. That back fat is real, and in the follow-up pictures, it's gone. Pictures on the far right, Shauna Mucklow in LifeVantage, down 27 pounds in 17 weeks, down 1.5 inches on her waist, feeling great, promoting the product, absolutely loving it. When we launched this product, in October, we actually shut down our website. We broke the internet. The company thought they had about 50,000 units of the product they thought was going to last about 6 or 8 weeks. Well, what happened is everyone wanted this product. Everyone was jumping on the internet to buy it. And those 50,000 units sold out in 13 days, threw us in a back order situation. But even worse than that, if you would have tried to sign on to the website on either October 12th in the afternoon October 13th during the day, you couldn't get on. It was a 40 to 60 hour wait to purchase the Mind Body product. So we actually broke the internet. People ended up getting the product, but it was an issue, and it shows the demand for the product. So what else can we activate? When we look at our liquid collagen product, I spoke about it a little bit earlier, increases type 1 collagen 100% in 8 weeks. When I first heard of this product, I was thinking, increasing collagen. Well, in the aesthetics field, in my med spa, we would try to increase collagen in the face. It would help with fine lines and wrinkles. It would make your face glow. I started on it. I didn't think I was going to start looking more handsome. I never thought I was going to get a job in Hollywood as an actor. But what I found in 8 weeks, my knee pain went away. And I flashed back to my career as an orthopedic surgeon. We would have people ask us, can I take a collagen product? Can I take one of these powdered collagens or glucosamine or chondroitin or shark cartilage? And I said, take it, try it. If you feel better, great. If you don't waste your money. Well, I started this product. Well, this product is 10 grams of liquid collagen. It's liquid, so it's absorbed by about 90%. So if I increased my type 1 collagen by 100% in 8 weeks, articular cartilage, that shiny cartilage that's at the end of the bones in your joints, well, that's almost all type 1 collagen. So that increased, my arthritis pain went away. The pain that I've had in my knees since I was 25 playing football was gone now almost 40 years later, just from this product. You take the Protandim NRF2 with the liquid collagen, it amplifies even more systems and things get better faster. We have an activator for the brain. We call it Axio. It increases your brain messengers. It helps with mental clarity. It helps with your thought process. It helps with mood. My son has ADHD. He was started on the ADHD medications about age 13. When he turned 20, he noticed that the combination of his ADHD medications and his increasing testosterone levels as he's becoming more mature was making him angry. He wanted to stop his ADHD medications. And so he came to us, he asked us what we thought, and I told him, hey, it's your decision. You're an adult now. You're 20 years old. If you want to stop it, go ahead and stop it. But you're going to need to figure out what you're going to do at work to get you through. He works 12-hour shifts in the restaurant field. He goes in about 2 and usually comes home after midnight. And I told him, you need to figure out, we had just started LifeVantage, and I said, try this Axio. Have one on your way to work in the car, bring a package with you, dump it in a bottle of water during the shift, see how it does. And he felt great. Just recently, he started taking Protandim, and that combination, he says he feels better now, his focus is better now than even when he was on the prescription drugs. And he has no vested interest to lie and say he feels better, but he says he never wants to stop the little yellow pill, the Protandim pill, because he feels so much better. This is my new favorite. This is my go-to. When somebody gets a hold of me and says, hey, doc, I want to lose weight, this is what we're using. The High Speed Health Stack was launched by LifeVantage now, I don't know, probably 2 months ago. It has a total of 4 products. It has the GLP-1 activator, the Mind Body GLP-1. It has the fat burn. Fat burn's going to increase. It's going to burn off an extra 181 calories a day. But the bigger thing, a lot of that fat that it's burning is the visceral fat, that fat that leads to disease. It's the Protandim that's going to lower your oxidative stress. It's going to help increase those hormones that are associated with metabolism. And then they're going to throw in free NAD. NAD happens to be my favorite longevity molecule. But the problem with NAD is if you take it IV, you get really nauseous. If you take it sub-Q, like little injections, like insulin injections, you got to do it every couple days. It hurts and it's really expensive. If you take the oral supplements, which are either one of 2 things, I won't quiz you at the end, nicotinamide mononucleotide or nicotinamide riboside, Neither one are absorbed very well. They're really big molecules. Some studies show they're only absorbed by about 2%, but this isn't a supplement. This is an activator. Small little building blocks that will raise NAD levels naturally from the inside. So it's going to raise your sirtuins, which lead to NAD 100% overnight. So this is raising NAD levels naturally. NAD is the strongest mobilizer of stem cells out of your bone marrow to your peripheral circulation to help with healing, to help with disease, to help with if you've had a heart attack, to increase the heart muscle cells. So this is one of the best longevity molecules that are out there. My favorite out of all the products. We use a ton of NAD in our office because we do regenerative medicine. So let me go to this next statistic. 57% of American households are living paycheck to paycheck. You heard me talk about this. So you've heard me talk about the products and how great the products are. But now we're talking about our lives. We're talking about supporting our families, raising our kids. And that 57% of American households, that means that if you lose your job, you're bankrupt in 90 days. So this is where LifeVantage can step in. It can give you that gig income. LifeVantage is one of the fastest growing wellness companies in direct sales. Our brand new MindBody GLP-1 system, not even out a year yet, broke the internet because the sales were so fast. We're talking about activation. This isn't supplementation. This isn't what your mom and dad did when they took multivitamins, when they took prenatal vitamins, when they took vitamin D to elevate their vitamin D levels, when they took some of the NAD products to elevate NAD. This is activation. This is nutrigenomics, which means that you take small little building blocks to elevate genetic pathways in your body to build products inside the body. This is totally different. So who is LifeVantage? Like I said, they started in 2005 inside the drugstores as a retail company. And they realized 4 years later that they needed a story. They couldn't just have John Quinones' story. They needed my story. They needed Rachel Picard's story. They needed Tara Wilson's story. They needed Bob Kane's story. They needed someone's story. And so once they switched to direct sales network marketing, they've sold over $2 billion worth of products since 2005. They're publicly traded, they're financially stable, they're debt free. They've been in the industry for 20 years. Entrepreneur Magazine said that they are the stock to buy in the healthcare sector. The stock's been going up ever since they launched their product in October, the MindBody product. So why are you here tonight? You might be thinking, there's a million ways I can make that extra money. If we're a two-family income, mom and dad are both working, if we need that third gig, we can sell on Amazon, we can sell on Etsy, we can deliver pizza, we can drive for Uber. But why should we join LifeVantage? Why should we partner with the people on this call? It's because you have to pick your side hustle. Yeah, you can make some money on Etsy, you can make some money on as an Amazon influencer, but it's limited income and you're working 24/7. I have an Amazon account that I can refer to some of my doctors and they can buy some products. And last month I made $13. I made a lot more in LifeVantage. You can have coaching courses. I have an online course for doctors that teach them how to inject joints, how to inject knees and hips and shoulders. And it cost me about almost $15,000 to put that class online. And it's $1,000 workshop. And yeah, I make a little bit money, but it's a lot of money to get started with that. LifeVantage, you can start LifeVantage for an average of about $250. Even if you decide you wanted to go all in, you wanted to take both feet and jump in the deep end of the pool, that's $999. Let me put that in perspective. When I launched my medical practice, when I started my medical practice in 1996, my all-in investment was $1 million. So I had $400,000 of medical school debt. I bought a building that was about $350,000. I had to hire a receptionist and a nurse and a medical assistant. I had to pay my malpractice. I had to buy equipment. My all in $1 million. If you went all in with LifeVantage, your all in is $999. And you can make doctor money if you work hard enough, if you catch the right breaks, if you sign up the right people, you can get to that level. Here's some trends to follow. We're going to talk about the medical trends. So we talked about obesity. In that lower left-hand corner, the National Institute of Health has done a study. By 2030, 29 states are going to have an obesity rate of over 50%. We said that West Virginia is going to probably push that limit this year. It's going to be the first state to have an obesity level of over 50%. Right now, nationwide, we're at 42%. We have some healthy states. We have healthy states like Colorado, healthy states like Hawaii, but some of our unhealthy states, West Virginia, the Deep South, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, we're pushing that 50% range. Let's look at the GLP-1 drugs. Let's look at semaglutide. Semaglutide, under the trade name of Ozempic, in 2023, $38 billion worth of sales. That's a trend to think about. And if you look at some of the trends, by 2031, 138 to $200 billion a year. Do you want to be part of that? Do you want to be part of that 4 to 8 times growth that we're going to see in the next 6 to 7 years? I want to be part of that. Let's look at some other trends. Let's look at the wellness industry, $1.5 trillion with a T. So we have products in that. We have the best antioxidant. We have the best GLP-1 activator. We have one of the best NAD products. We have a collagen product that's going to help women look better with fine lines and wrinkles. It's going to help take away joint pain. We have looked at nutrigenomics. LifeVantage is one of the first nutrigenomic product companies to ever launch a product. We have big name people like Larry Page that owns Google that's trying to start his own nutrigenomics product, his own company, but they're working with big pharma. That's not the answer. So let's look at affiliate marketing or network marketing. ZipRecruiter did a study and they said that if you do it full time, if you're full time 40 hours a week as a network marketing, your average income is going to be about $82,000 a year. Not a bad income. Even if you're a young person, you can live on that. You can have your apartment, pay your car payments, pay for your utilities. That boils down to about $40 an hour. So we use the hashtag get in where you fit in. Maybe all you want to do is share the product. Maybe you want to get involved. Maybe you and a bunch of your girlfriends want to do a weight loss challenge. And you all want to do this together. Well, you can make up to 40% just by sharing the product. You're going to get personal sales bonuses. You're going to get fast track bonuses. Maybe you want to do more though. Maybe you want to build a team. You want to build and grow a team. They're going to pay you up to about 9 levels. So what does that mean? It means that if you get in and you put in 3 people, then those people put in 3 people. And then so those 9 people put in 3 people. So if you do the math, if you go down 9 levels, you have about 7,000 people in your group just by repeating this in 3 people at a time. So maybe that's what you want to do. You want to make that kind of money, but maybe you want to go more. Maybe what you want to do is you want to lead a movement. Let's look at those numbers. Let's look at in dollars instead of just people. If you go diamond, which means you have about 25 customers a month, you're going to make about $1,200 a month. But if you help 5 people go diamond, that's going to increase to about $3,200 a month. And if you help those 5 diamonds help their 5 people go diamond, means that you have about 25 people in your organization, you're going to be making about $13,200 a month. That's exponential growth. Maybe you want to go more than that. Maybe you want to lead a movement. When I first got into LifeVantage, and like I said no twice. I just probably wanted to build a team. But then I realized that our healthcare system was broken. We don't have a healthcare system. We have what I like to refer to as a sick care system. You go to your doctor when you're sick and you get a pill. That pill may give you a side effect and you get another pill. He's not interested in making you health. He doesn't talk to you about your health or your wellness. He talks to you about your illness. And so that's why our system's broken. So I want to change one person at a time, one patient at a time, and hopefully one doctor at a time. I want to lead a movement because once I get to a certain level, once I get to the executive level in the company, then they take part of their profits. They take 4% and they give it back to their consultants. They give it back to the people that are building teams. My movement is called the Dr. Jeff Effect. If you haven't followed me on Instagram and Facebook, please do. Our mission in Team Heart is to change the world around us with love, health, and entrepreneurship. And why LifeVantage? Well, the best part is you don't have to do this from scratch. Rachel Picard worked for months to launch Activated Affiliate, which is on our website, our online system to help you build your teams. You don't have to build it from scratch. There's no costly overhead. There's no inventory. My first network was something called Monavi. I would have cases and cases of this juice product sitting in my garage. There's no shipping. You're not shipping it to your people. The company is shipping it. No tech overwhelm. You can do this very easily, even if you do not understand all the technical side. Who is Team Heart? You've heard me mention it. Team Heart has successfully produced over $200 million in revenue over the past decade under the leadership of our great leaders, under Rachel Picard and Tara Wilson and people like Erica Dale. And we've paid out over $100 million in commissions. We're led by 6 and 7 figure earners that are really in the trenches helping new consultants thrive. I will lock arms with anybody that wants to do this. Like I said, a few months back, we launched Activated Affiliate. It's our online system. It's the secret sauce to help you launch. We try to get everybody, if you sign up with us as a consultant, 30 days to 1K, which means that in the first month, we want you to make that $1,000 back if you jumped in all in with a $999 investment. We have lead funnels, we have lead magnets, we have social media files that you can just copy and paste into your own Facebook or your own Instagram. Activated Affiliate Academy has videos that you can watch. I put about 5 different videos on there. I have a video about activation, a video about GLP-1. We have our AI affiliate, Millie, that you can ask questions and get responses back. And what does it cost to be part of this? You would think $100 a month, $200 a month. It is $20 for your first year, just to get you involved with Team Heart. Get in where you fit in. Maybe you want to be a customer. Maybe you want to be a consultant. If you want to go all in, my favorite pack is the business enrollment pack. One of every product, 30% off, 10% off 3 coupons for your first 3 customers. Same thing, 3 10% off coupons for your first 3 consultants. 2 tickets to our next big event, which is our October event in Dallas. So this is the pack that I like because it gives you all the products and you can demonstrate them to your family and friends. If you're a physician, you can put them on the shelves in your office. Maybe $9.99 is too much. Maybe you want to go a little less. Our top 6 products, the executive enrollment pack for $4.89. Our top 3 products, the MindBody, the Protandim, and the liquid collagen for $3.49. There's even packages that are less than that. So you've seen it. We know the time is perfect. We know that 57% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. We know that 42% of Americans are suffering with obesity. So the timing is perfect. The system is ready. We're ready to lock arms with you. So get back to the person that invited you on this call. Talk to them, and we will help train you and guide you to hit the ground running. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing. I'm going to end with the same quote. I wasn't lucky. I may have been lucky because Lindy Ritsu approached me at a business networking event, because if not, I would have never joined. I've never told this, I think, on a Tuesday night meeting, but somebody on the scientific advisory board with me, Melody Rodarte, she approached me 4 years ago to join LifeVantage. I was talking to her about taking one of my workshops, and she reapproached me and told me to join LifeVantage with her. And I said no 4 years ago. I wonder where it would be now if I had joined 4 years ago. Remember, I wasn't lucky. I just failed more times than most people have tried. Kelly Girardi is an astronaut. She spoke at our global convention back in April. She was almost not allowed to go in space because women were not allowed in space, but she kept trying, she kept pushing, and she didn't fail. She succeeded. So welcome to Team Heart. Welcome to LifeVantage. I hope you took something home tonight. I hope you took some notes. Next week, we're off. Next week, I'm going to be off the coast of Juneau, Alaska. I think it's a sea day. No, I think we're in Juneau on Tuesday. Tuesday night, we'll be off the coast. I may surprise you. I may put out an announcement that we're doing one from the boat. I have some big leaders on the boat with me. Maybe we'll do a combined meeting if I can talk them into it, and we have internet service. But welcome to Team Heart. Welcome to LifeVantage. This call's a wrap. I love each and every one of you. Have a great night. Have a great weekend, and probably see you in 2 weeks. Love you all. Bye-bye.